Welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Andrew Duffney. I'm the Instruction and Outreach Librarian at the New Jersey State Library. It is my pleasure to present our instructor today, Marsha Rudolph. She has been teaching breath awareness for the last 25 years and yoga for the last 15 years. Her specialty is working with people who may feel too intimidated to take a more challenging yoga class, especially those who may be struggling with their weight, have some physical limitations, or at a midlife or beyond, or just want a class of gentle stretching and postures to relieve stress, improve flexibility, or complement a more vigorous exercise routine. Marsha works as a community health educator at Capital Health System. So welcome, Marsha. Thank you so much for presenting today. Before we get started, I just have a couple of quick things to go through. If you do have any questions for Marsha, maybe about the routine or maybe some extra resources regarding yoga or maybe even some stress reduction, you can contact her at mrudolph@capitalhealth.org, and her email address is up on the screen right now. If you do have any questions at all about anything, maybe at the end if you're wondering, maybe for if she could repeat something that she said or something, you can always submit a question using the questions feature in the GoToWebinar dashboard. So please feel free to take advantage of that. One last thing before we get started. For those of you who are using a laptop, desktop, this is what your GoToWebinar dashboard should look like. If you do not see this, look for this orange box with a white arrow, either at the top left or right-hand side of your screen. That will open and close the dashboard, and it's possible the dashboard loaded closed on you. If you can hear my voice but can't see the dashboard, can't see Marsha on the webcam, look for a blue clover type icon at the bottom of your computer screen in your taskbar. You should be able to click on that, and that should be able to bring everything up for you. At any time during the session today, if you can't figure anything out, you're running into problems, please use this raise hand button here. That'll alert me that there's something that is going on, and I will message you, and hopefully we'll be able to solve that. And lastly, as I said, if you do have questions, there is a questions box here where you can just type in your questions, hit send, and we'd be happy to take a look at them at the end of the program. So that is everything that I have for you. I am going to stop showing my screen. So that should just give you Marsha that you see. If the box is small, please click on the bottom right corner and that will drag it, or you can use the box at the top right corner that next to the X, that'll maximize the video so you can see Marsha. So Marsha, take it away.
Thanks very much, Andrew, for having me today, and thank you to everybody who's attending today. I don't know what level people are at, but we're going to be doing a very slow practice since this is geared towards stress reduction. And we're actually going to start on our backs. You're welcome to do this. That's how you would get the most advantage. I know sometimes people want to kind of watch a little bit to see what to do. But we're going to just get started, and then once we kind of come back up, I'm going to talk a little bit more about yoga. So I just want to make sure everybody can see me. You might not get my feet in or my head. Let me move back a little bit. All right. So we're going to come onto our backs, and particularly nice to have the feet on the floor and the knees facing the ceiling and the legs bent, particularly if you have low back issues. And we will be doing some just general yoga stretches on our backs from here that will help that lower back sacral area. So the first thing we're going to do is just sense, we just want to feel the soles of our feet in touch with the floor. And then we just want to feel whatever points are touching the ground or your mat. And just really let your body sink in to the ground and be completely supported, so that you can begin to just let go of whatever it is you might be holding right now. Any tension, physical or emotional, they usually go together. And all the way up the spine, and relax the shoulders and the neck, and then just really releasing the back of the head. So the more that we can sense the body walls, it helps to quiet down and calm the thoughts that are always going in our minds. And we start to just sense the different parts of our body. This is a good one to experience that. So we keep just checking in, little scan. And then we're going to take our hands and we're just going to rest them on the belly. You could have the hands kind of under each rib cage, or you can have one on top of the other, just finding a comfortable place for the hands. And make sure that the upper arms and the elbows are on the floor. And the only thing we're going to do now is sense those two hands resting on the belly, just that. And just take a moment with that before we try the next piece. And just noticing now the hands and just feeling, can you feel the movement of the breath actually moving the body walls? And sometimes this takes a while, so you can take this exercise home with you and practice. But you might see my belly rising and falling a little. So it's kind of like that, or whatever it is for you. You might have fuller breath, or it might be smaller. And we just bring all our focus and awareness and attention right there, nothing else. And while you're doing that, you can just relax all the facial muscles. So the jaw can drop, the cheeks, the lips, the eyes, and the forehead skin just releases. And anytime the mind wanders, so this is kind of a little practice meditation, we just bring our awareness back to sensing the movement of the breath as we inhale and as we exhale, without trying to push it or force it, but just allowing it to come into its own natural rhythm. So throughout the class today, we're going to keep bringing back the breath. So just to remind you to bring that awareness of breath into your stretches, postures today. And the breath is such a great tool for helping to quiet down the mind. And we can bring our awareness there at any time. So the first thing we're going to do is just, you can interlace the fingers. You can rest them. You're going to pull the right knee back. You don't have to overdo it. You can either rest the hands on the shin, or if that doesn't feel right, you can bring the hands just under your right knee. And we're bringing the right knee back, knee to chest. And if anyone wants a little larger stretch, you can lengthen your left leg on the ground and just flex the left foot, and you just relax the right foot. And just to give the leg a little bit of a stretch, we're going to inhale the right foot up to the ceiling. It doesn't have to be straight. You can see mine is not. But we're just facing the sole of the foot towards the ceiling and supporting the back of our leg with our hands. just to stretch the back of the leg. And then we're going to bring the right knee in. Something that's nice to do is to take your right palm and you're going to place it on the top of the right knee and you're just going to inhale. This is really good for hip flexibility. Inhale, opening up to the right side, stretching the inside of the thigh and the groin. Exhale, we bring it back up. Then we use the other hand and we just do a nice stretch. You can feel a stretch on the outside of the right leg. And then you can just do knee to chest with the knee back towards the chest. This is great for after you exercise. It's also calming, but it's just a great stretch for your low back. And then from here, we're just going to switch. So the sole of the right foot's on the ground, the right knee's facing the ceiling. And you always want to have the spine long on the floor. So you're interlacing the fingers and either resting them on the left shin or you're bringing them behind the left knee. Right heel in line with your right hip. And to keep the back of the neck long, you can just tuck the chin a little towards the throat. And most importantly, breathing. So just letting the breath come and go as you try this. And then we're going to extend the right leg if you like. If you have low back issues, you're welcome to keep the leg bent. For those that want to do the stretch, you can lengthen that right leg on the ground and flex the right foot and relax the left foot. And then we're going to inhale and send the left foot up to the sky. Feel that nice stretch behind the left leg. You can bring that left knee in. Let's bring the right knee in. Something that's really nice is kind of giving your low back and sacral area a nice massage. So you can rock a little side to side, just kind of holding below the knees if that's comfortable. And then from here, what we're going to do is we're going to take the arms and we're going to bring them so the palms are up. And the arms are at shoulder height. And they're in a T. So you want to just release the shoulder blades into the floor. And then we're going to inhale, and we're going to drop the knees, the legs, and the feet over to the right side. Now, if this is too much, you can take a block, a pillow is good, and place it underneath the lower leg. You can even use 2 blocks and put one between the 2 legs and have a little support for the stretch. You want to try to keep both shoulder blades in touch with the floor as you do the twist. It just kind of warms up the spine. And you can gaze up or you can gaze at the opposite hand of the twist. And then we're going to inhale, bring up. And exhale, we're going to drop the knees, legs, and feet to the left side. Again, you can use props for support if you like. Shoulder blades release into the ground. Gaze is towards the ceiling or over at the right hand. And a little breath awareness here, just bringing awareness to the right rib cage and the waist on the right side. And see if you can actually feel the breath moving over the side of the body. So the twists are wonderful for the nervous system. So they're very calming. I usually do these at the end of my practice. We're doing this a little different today. If we have time, we'll do a little bit more with it later. And then from there, let's roll over to the right. And we're going to come up. And we're going to do some things in seated. Just a couple things I wanted to mention. So I talked about the breath awareness, and you have that exercise. It's a really nice one to do when you're back with just sensing the breath before you go to bed, or maybe when you get up in the morning, or anytime you're just feeling like you need a little more support. Other things that are generally, I mean, I believe that the whole yoga practice is excellent for stress reduction. Even if you're a very nervous person, it can make you less nervous. So, you know, whatever level you're at, it can help to really add to your life and nourish you. But things that particularly are great for stress reduction, which we will do today, are forward bends, child's pose, which for most people is very simple. Sometimes people have tight hips or the back of the legs, and we can work on that as well. And restorative poses. So restorative poses, you usually use props, and I have all manner of props here. So I think what I'll do with that, in case people don't have props, is just towards the end, I'm going to show you a few of those. Even if you want to snap a picture just to kind of see. I know sometimes I'll forget after things like this. You could try that, or you could look it up in a book or just on the internet. So the practice today is going to be slow. It's going to be a lot of listening. So listening to the body and listening to the breath and sensing the breath movement, and just to keep coming back there when the thoughts come in. And just to be receptive and open as much as you can to the practice. And about yoga, so yoga comes from the Sanskrit word yuj, Y-U-J. And what that means is unity. I like to say wholeness. So it's bringing all those parts of ourselves together into one. So yoga helps to just unify us, or bring us all together, body, mind, and spirit. So from there, just a few things to keep in mind. We're going to sit up, and if you're able to do cross-legged, the other thing is you could do probably most of this class on a chair. So if you have a folding chair and it's not comfortable for you to be seated, you could just sit on the chair, have your feet on the ground, and the knees stacked above the feet, and you can do all of these warm-ups in particular on the chair. So we're going to start to do some circles. So this is really great for arthritis. It's a way to warm up the spine. And we're just circling around the hips and starting to warm up the body. And then we're going to switch directions. And then from there, we're going to do some spinal flexes. So you can either hold on to your shins, or you can hold on to your front ankle and go a little wider with both feet resting on the floor. So either way is fine, shins or front ankle. And usually in class, I emphasize the sits bones a lot. So we have these two hard bones called the ischium bones. They're called sits bones more generally. So we just feel those bones as we are seated. And we just sense them. You can bring your awareness there, just sensing that area and releasing them into your mat or the floor. And then from there, nice long spine. Yoga, we work a lot with posture. So it's going to be an inhale, we arch a little bit and look up. Exhale, we pull the navel into the spine as the head comes down. And we just stretch the back of the body. And then we follow our own breath. So we're going to keep going. At any time, if it hurts, you just stop. Nice and gentle. And everyone's breath rhythm is different, and it changes all the time. So you can really tune into the breath and just let the breath lead the movement. So we're warming up the spine. We're releasing any tension in the back body. And again, you could do these from a chair just fine. And then we're going to bring that to a close. And if you have a block or a pillow, I have a pranayama pillow here. You could use a blanket folded up, or I brought my pillow to show you today too. You could sit on a pillow. You just want to really have the hips elevated, and I'll show you why. So I used to be a lot like this, where you kind of slump because I'm not sitting on anything. Sitting on a block or a prop or something to lift up the hips helps to just lengthen the spine, helps us not to round the shoulders. You could even do 2 blocks if you have them underneath. And then we're just going to release the legs towards the floor. The crown of the head is lifted. The shoulders are relaxed. And just really feel that length in the spine before we do anything. So the sits bones grow down, and the crown of the head lifts. And we just tune into the breath. And just feeling that breath rise and fall in the body. And then we're just going to simply inhale, reach the fingers towards the sky. We're kind of in a V. The sits bones ground down, so nice long spine. Make sure your shoulders and neck are relaxed, and see where the gaze wants to go. And the breath. Feel where you feel breath moving in your body. And then inhale, reach the fingers, exhale, bend. And in the bent elbow position, we're going to go from left to right. And you can just kind of tuck the navel in a little bit so that you don't go too much and strain the back at all. So we're going to look left and then we look right. Traditionally with this, you keep the eyes open. It's a good energizer. Helps to loosen up the upper spine and the shoulders, and then you can bring that to a nice close. You can move the neck. How about if we just roll the shoulders, move the neck. You can do a little stretching. And then from there, we're going to come into all fours for table pose. If you're on a hard floor, or you just want a little more support, you can use a blanket and you can place it underneath wrists and or knees. Just because we're going to be here for a couple minutes and it can be a lot on the knees. And again, you have knee issues and you can back off and you can just do your own stretches until the next one. So the hands are going to come right beneath the shoulders. The knees are going to come right beneath the hips. The tops of the feet are against the floor. The fingers are spread wide apart, and the middle finger is pointing straight ahead. And we're going to start in table pose. So we just gaze down. And just tune into the breath. And then inhale, lift the tailbone, arch and look up. Exhale, tuck the tailbone under, pull the navel and the spine as the head comes down. On your own. And again, you're just going to let the breath lead the movement. Inhaling, arching, and exhaling, rounding. And again, everyone has their own breath rhythm, which is constantly changing. And this is just another way that's nice to warm up the spine. Hopefully it's relaxing for you. And then we just come back up to table, and we're going to do child. Just trying, I always wonder if people can see me. So what you're going to do is you're just going to bring the buttocks back towards the heels. If the buttocks don't touch the heels, you could use something like a regular pillow, or I have my pillow, the pranayama pillow, and you could come on to that. That's definitely a little too high for me. But you could also roll up a blanket. And we bring the buttocks back onto the heels. You could have the knees, actually for this, let's bring them together. And we're going to do an extended child pose where we extend the arms overhead, and you can bring the forehead to the ground. If it doesn't reach the ground, you can use a block or a pillow under the forehead. And what we're going to do now is a little more breath awareness. So just sensing the movement of the breath over the back body. You may not feel it right away. Eventually, as you grow breath awareness, you'll start to feel how the breath can open up all the areas of the body, maybe giving it like a little internal massage. And this is also nice to do after you exercise, just to release the low back, the hips, the spine. And then we're going to come back up onto all fours. And we're going to walk our right foot up. And then we're going to walk our left foot up. And we're just going to hang in what's called ragdoll. So you can either have just the arms hang, or you can hold behind the legs. And you're just going to shake the head yes, and then shake the head no. And just loosen up the back and the back of the neck. And then we're just going to take our hands onto our hip points. And we're going to slowly press into the soles of our feet. Take your time as we come up to standing. And from here, I'm just going to take a moment to do a little more sensing, listening. So just feeling the soles of the feet. You can walk them a little. You can kind of move the toes or the ankles, anything to just start to bring awareness down to the feet as we prepare for some standing postures. And then from there, we're just going to plant the feet so they're firmly down, they're parallel to one another, and they're hip width apart. Crown of the head is lifted. And from here, we're going to just do what's called sun breath. Inhale, lift up, look up, exhale, arms down. And you can do on your own. You could also do this from seated. This is really nice to do in the morning. Maybe welcome the sun. Sometimes the simplest things are the most powerful for us. You really don't have to do very much to get the benefit. We're going to bring that to a close. If you have a block, you could try this with a block. If not, it's just fine without the block. Actually, traditionally, you do without the block. This just helps to engage the legs for those that have them. You have legs, but for those that have blocks. All right, so the feet are hip width apart. And once again, we just sense the four corners of the feet. So it's both sides of the heel, the balls of the feet, each side, by the big toe and the little toe, maybe even feeling the pads of the toes. The feet alone can help to ground us. Most of the time we're up in our heads thinking all the time. So if we can start to bring more awareness to the legs and the feet, even tapping them a little, you could tap the feet or the legs. It's a really good way to just kind of ground yourself. All right, so we're going to do mountain pose, which is the foundational posture of yoga. It's very simple and gentle. It helps posture, and it can also build confidence, increase stamina. So you're going to just have the arms by your sides. You can have the palms facing your legs. And just stay with the breath. If you have a block and you're using it, you can just gently squeeze the block, strengthening the legs as well. And then we're just going to try different hand positions. You can stay with one if you prefer that over another one. We can open the palms. So just noticing every time you change the hand positions, how does it feel? You notice any difference? Without thinking about it, but just sensing. Another one is you can bring prayer hands together. You still want to feel the feet, so it's that wholeness, feet all the way up. If you have the block, you can remember to squeeze the block. And last one, you can stay with the prior ones if you prefer. If it's too much to have the arms overhead, you reach the arms overhead. And just reach the fingers towards the ceiling. Stay with the breath. And just feeling all the way from the fingers, the arms, sensing the whole body, the legs, the feet. Inhale, reach, and exhale, let go. Good. All right, from here, we're going to do some side poses. So a couple more standing postures. Good time to take socks off, particularly if you're on a mat, so that you don't slip. And we can put them back on shortly. Okay, so we're going to bring the feet so that they're 2, 3, or 4 feet apart. See if you can see this way. So the feet are 2, 3, 4 feet apart. I'm going to come to the side because we're going to do a couple things, so it's going to work better. Whatever you can comfortably do is just fine. Hands are on the hips. Once again, we feel those 4 corners of the feet. And then when you're ready, nice and easy, arms straight out in a line, shoulders relaxed. You can do palms down. That's the traditional way. You want to try a little something different, you can open the palms forward, or you can even flip the palms up. And again, just noticing what each brings. And we're just going to look straight ahead and breathe. Make sure the shoulders are and the neck are relaxed. And we're in 5-pointed star. Head, arms, legs. We're gently toning the arms and the legs. And then we're just going to stretch the legs and the arms before we do the next one. So I think we'll do maybe one more standing. We should do a little bit more than that, but we have less time than I normally teach. So we're going to take the feet back to 2, 3, 4 feet apart. And let's start with pointing the left foot. For me, it's to a back wall. So you just kind of want to turn it from that first position so that it's pointing a back wall. And then you're going to turn the right foot in a little bit, and you're going to have heel to instep or heel to heel. Sometimes this works best if everybody's going the same direction. So just a suggestion. Hands are on the hips, and instead of facing the left leg, you're gonna look more to the side. So you just kind of bring those hips back a little. You can always make adjustments in the feet. So again, before we do anything, we feel the soles of the feet. Inhale, exhale, we're gonna bend that left knee. Now, if you have any knee issues and this is too much, please back off. You can do another 5-pointed star. Otherwise, if you're able to, you can bend that left knee towards the little toes, so over the ankle. And we're gonna press into the outside of the right foot so that you feel both legs equally engaged. You're gonna inhale the arms straight out in a line. And you can gaze in the same direction that your torso is going first. And just feel the breath coming into the waist and the ribs. And then, if you'd like, you can look over your left fingers. And we are in Warrior Two pose. Stay with the breath as we strengthen the legs, tone the arms, hands on the hips, left foot around, and we're going to shake it out before we do the opposite side. So we're going to come around. You can flip around. That just generally works best for me. And once again, feet are 2, 3, 4 feet apart, and they're parallel to one another. The hands are on the hip points. This time you're going to face that right foot in that same direction you had the left foot. You're going to turn the left foot in a little bit, and you're going to have heel to instep or heel to heel once again. The hips generally want to go a little forward over the legs, so we're just going to bring them gently to the side. And then we're going to inhale and we're going to exhale. And we're going to bend the right knee as long as it feels okay today. Right knee over the right ankle towards the little toes, and at the same time press into the left foot and firm it so that you can feel both legs equally. We're going to inhale the arms straight out and align, shoulders are relaxed. And again, you can start with the gaze in the same direction the torso is facing. Right knee towards your little toes. Keep breathing. Really stretch through the fingers, nice and long. And then if you like, you can look over your right fingers. Hands on the hips, right foot around, and we're going to shake out the legs. And then we're going to slowly work our way down to the floor. So let's do 2 of these. So they're forward bends. If you have blocks, it would be good. Otherwise, you could try to reach for the floor. So what we're going to do is we come back to wide-legged, and you just take your 2 blocks. You have 3 heights. So you have kind of the short one, the middle, and then you have the tall. So you just have to see what's going to work for you. And you're going to place the blocks so that they're kind of forward center. And once again, we just feel the soles of the feet so we have a good support. Inhale, reach the fingers up nice and long towards the sky. Exhale, hands can come down to the blocks. Now, if you have unmedicated high blood pressure, heart disease, or any serious eye issues, you should keep the head level with the heart. You don't want to have it below. If you are okay, you don't have any of those things, and you can just let the head go. So either way is fine. And just staying with the breath. And then from here, let's bring our press into the soles of the feet to come up and bring our hands onto our hips. And then we're going to do one more. Always good to move joints, do some stretches in between. And again, we have the blocks at 3 heights, if you have blocks. Otherwise, you can use the floor. It's just sometimes that's a little bit too much of a reach for people. And I know for me with the forward bends, I actually like using, especially this one, the blocks. So we're just going to stand behind the blocks. The feet are hip width apart. And we just feel the 4 corners of the feet again. So we just sense the soles of the feet. And then we're going to inhale, bring the arms up. Exhale, nice swan dive. Hands can come to the blocks at any height. Same precautions. Keeping the head level with the heart, or you can let it go if you don't have any of those issues. Stay with the breath. And then we can use the blocks if you have them to slowly come down, back down onto the ground. And we're just going to come back into another child pose. So we bring the buttocks back towards the heels. You can try child here with the knees apart or together. That's up to you. You can try arms overhead like we did before, or you could do arms by your sides with the palms up. Child pose is considered a restorative, so why don't you stay for a little bit. And again, it's something that's good after exercising to release the spine. And it's just also very calming pose. And then we're going to come up. We usually do back bends, but I think we're just going to come onto our backs now, like we did in the beginning. And we're going to just come onto our back. And the first thing we're going to do is just hug the knees in. And again, if you'd like to do a little rocking side to side, you could do that, just to release any holding in the low back. And just briefly, because we did do this in the beginning, we're going to take the sole of the left foot down on the ground, the left heel's in line with the left hip, the left knee faces the ceiling, and we're going to interlace the fingers or just hold under the knee, rest the hands on the shin or under the knee, and just gently bringing the right knee back. You can tuck the chin in a little bit just to keep the back of the neck long. And let's just switch legs. So right foot on the ground in line with the hip. Right knee facing the ceiling, and then just gently bringing back the left leg. Let's just do both again. And while we're here, let's just do a twist so the arms are out at shoulder height in a T with the palms up and the shoulder blades releasing into the floor. And inhale, exhale, we drop the knees, legs, and feet to the right side. And we bring awareness to the left rib cage, left waist. Again, calming the central nervous system. Inhale, knees up, exhale. And then down again, you can use props underneath the lower leg or between the legs. Really melting the shoulders into the ground. And then bringing the knees back in. And then from here, I promise to show you a few restoratives. If you have props like this, or you actually could do the next one with a big bolster as well, but there's a little bit more setup involved. So I have a pranayama pillow. I love this. I've had it the whole time I practice yoga. So pranayama is the breathing part of yoga, and the pranayama pillow encourages that breath. So this is restorative. So the pillow is kind of an extra. It's something that I love, and I know my students have grown to love. But you're also, if you don't have something like that, you're welcome to just try it with your back on the floor. So I'm just going to show you real quick. If you have two pillows, better than two blocks, but see if it's going to work this way. So what you do, if you want to get a pillow, they're about 20 bucks online. You just take the edge of the pillow and you hold it, and you're not sitting on it, so the hips and the buttocks are off of the pillow, but it just lines your whole spine. And then you can take your blocks or pillows, which is extra nice, and you just bring the soles of the feet together. And again, you could do this if you want to try it now without the pranayama pillow. It just really helps to open up that breath a little bit more. The other thing that's nice if you have one, you can actually kind of give yourself a little massage with the pillow, which is really nice. And then you just have the arms down by your sides with the palms up. And this is just a wonderful one for anxiety, depression. Very calming, receptive, open. So it's a really good time to just practice some conscious breathing. So just feeling the breath expand in the body as you inhale and swing back as you exhale. Again, without trying to change it, but just allowing it to be natural and just come and go on its own. It's also a great hip opener. And we stretch the inside of the legs. And this you could stay for 3 to 5 minutes to start, and then if it feels good, you work up to it, you can do even longer. There's a different kind of setup. It has bigger props, and that you can stay probably 10, 15 minutes. So we just pull the blocks or props away, and we roll to the side to take the pillow out if you have a pillow. Probably mostly don't. And we're going to do an opposing stretch now just to release the hips. So we take the feet now. We've been keeping them hip width apart. We're going to bring them further than hip width apart, and we're just going to rest the knees against each other. You can rest the arms by your side, or you can just rest your hands on your belly. Sensing all the parts of the back body in touch with the ground. Another thing you can do here to release the hips is just some windshield wipers back and forth. Or you can do a rocking knee to chest as we've done before. And then we just roll to the right side. You can come up for a moment. I would recommend probably before we will be on our backs, but right after child pose, at that point where we're going kind of from belly down and we're starting to come onto the back, usually what I'll do in class, especially nice during this time, because this is going to be a restorative fish pose. So I just wanted to show you, blocks are relatively inexpensive. It's a great way to do fish pose, and I'll tell you why in a moment, so just make sure you can see. So what you do is you have one block either tall or medium, and you have the other one medium or small. So the back one is going to be higher up, and then the other one will be like one length down. And what you do is you just take that smaller or lower one and you place it underneath the shoulder area, between the shoulder blades. And then we take the larger one and we just rest the back of our head on it. And sometimes you just, need to get used to it a little bit, or you could, adjust it to make it more comfortable for yourself. And as always, if it doesn't work, then you don't obviously have to do it. But what happens with this is it opens up the whole chest area. So fish is really good for colds and asthma, but it's also with the props, it's stimulating the thymus gland, which helps control the immune system. So when we stimulate it in the chest area, we can feel with the blocks that big opening of the breath. The regular fish pose is a lot more demanding on your neck if you have neck issues. So that's why I like to bring this in. Plus you get the immune effects of the supported fish pose. I would just do that when we're transitioning before we kind of get formally onto our backs, because it's actually kind of stimulating. So you kind of want to work in the reverse. So to come up, what you do is you just press into the elbows, maybe the forearms and the hands, and then just slowly bring yourself up. Always taking your time so that when you transition, you don't stretch anything the wrong way. And now we're just going to end. Usually we do Shavasana on our backs, but we did that whole beginning on our backs. So I think we'll just end in seated. And if you have, again, if you have a pillow or a block, even a blanket or 2 blankets, you can come up. So again, anything to just bring the hips elevated a little bit. Get out of the light, even though it feels good. So always important, just feeling those sits bones. In touch with your prop or blanket. And then just relaxing the legs and the knees and the feet towards the floor, just releasing them. And then just bringing awareness to the back body and relaxing the low back and the sacral area, in the middle, the back, and the shoulders and the upper back, and the neck. And then just gently lifting the crown of the head towards the ceiling. And again, just feeling that nice stretch and length in the spine. Arms, hands, and fingers can just relax on your legs if that's comfortable. You can have palms down or palms up. You can try both and see what feels natural to you right now. And then we're just going to relax the belly and the ribs. And bringing awareness to the chest and the heart area. And then just relaxing the throat. And releasing all the facial muscles. So the jaw can drop, the cheeks can relax, the lips and the tongue release, the eyes can soften, and the forehead skin can release across the top of the face. Something that's nice to do as we're here is just bringing your hands, if you want to try it, one on the belly and one on the chest, and just tuning into that movement of the breath, feeling it grow in your hands on the inhalation and swing back in on the exhalation. And then just bringing the palms of the hands together. Again, keeping the spine nice and long, sensing every part of the body. And I always like to end with this little piece. May we be at peace. May all beings be at peace. May our world be at peace. May we each be little lights into the world. The world needs our light, especially now. The light in me honors the light in each one of you. And then namaste, which is sort of a prayer and a thank you. And you're always welcome to stretch. I just wanted to leave a little time in case people had any questions. So usually when I do class, I do about like a solid hour and 20 minutes. So we had maybe like 55 minutes, but we did do a lot of what I normally do. And let me just see, was that a question that popped up? I got to closer to my screen.
Just put your email in the chat.
Okay. Oh, there's one in the chat. Gotcha. Announcements. Oh, okay, that's my email. Okay, so nothing yet. If anyone wants to put questions in the chat, you're welcome to do that. Maybe everybody is zenned out. I hope so. So I really recommend people do a practice every day. Even to start, if you could do 10 to 15 minutes, it will really help your whole day. If you can work up to a half hour, 45 minutes, or maybe even an hour, that's great. And just really important to keep tuning into the breath as a way to anchor the mind. Start to bring that more into your day. That's the challenging part.
Somebody asked, what should the blocks be covered in? What kind of fabric is best?
They're usually, I have seen cork, but otherwise they're just kind of this, I don't know what, it's almost like a foam kind of thing. You can get them online, or I think I actually got these at Five Below, and they were $5. I usually run between 5 and 10, maybe 8 now. So those are fine. I do two blocks. You could get more. But yeah, they're great. I like sitting on mine. I know some people find that uncomfortable. Again, you could use a pillow, but they're just really nice for the restoratives and to support the forward bends.
Do you have virtual classes?
Right now I have one. It's on Tuesday nights. It's through the West Windsor Art Center, and it's at 6 o'clock on Tuesdays. We kind of do them as semesters. So we will be running through, I think, the beginning of March. But if you were interested, you could get on the website for the West Windsor Arts Council, and you could you can email them, or you can give them a call just to see. I'm sure you could do a drop-in. Or at least we used to be able to do them for in-person classes. You might have to double check. And otherwise, we would pick up again probably at the end of March. So we usually have a few weeks between semesters.
Are those classes free?
No, sorry. Yeah, the West Windsor Art Center is a nonprofit that fosters the arts, and we were just lucky enough to get space there. So they need, the funds to support them. So.
Any work style yogas that you can do in the office?
Yeah, right from your chair, you can do those warm-ups we did, the circling, the spinal flexes. If you want to do the arms, you could do that. You could do sun breath right from your chair, which is great, nice and simple, like that. Lots of things that you could do with the chair. You could look for a book on chair yoga. You probably wouldn't do some of the, like they'll have a warrior, which we did today, and standing on a chair and things like that. But when you're at work, you could do some of the simple things, and they might have some extra suggestions.
When doing a movement, when would you inhale and when would you exhale?
Okay, that's a good question. So because my training before yoga was in the breath, And we were encouraged with the yoga training as well to let the breath lead the movement. But it's true when there is sort of a rate sometimes. And so it's an inhale as we lift the arms up generally, and exhale as we bring the arms down. And then it kind of varies for each pose, but that's kind of the most obvious. Inhale up, exhale down. Usually the part that needs more, has a little more force to it or needs a little more strength behind it is the exhale. So.
What is the best exercise for the lower back?
Those kneaded chest ones and the kneaded chest with the rocking are excellent. Yeah. There's also you could look up, it's called a piriformis stretch. It's piriformis, and that is also great. I do that as part of my stretching after I exercise. It's a good hip opener and also stretches the low back and the sacral area.
Do you have a quick reference document, website, or resource for yoga?
I had been in the process of developing a website, and then I don't know, it just happened that I was teaching other places that were kind of on my own. I had my students, so I don't. I should. I'm sorry about that. But you can always email me, and I'd be happy to give you more information. If there's no more questions, I just wanted to thank everybody for coming today. And appreciate your openness to try. I hope that you'll take some of this home and practice every day, and you can always read more. There's so many yoga books, or you can go online. Yoga Journal is a good reference.
What is good for neck and back pain?
With a low back, like I said, the kneaded chest. For neck, there's a series of 3 where you just kind of sit. Need my black. That helps the back too. And yeah, there's one, I'm just going to speed through it to show you, but it's inhale, center, exhale, look over the right shoulder. It's a lateral rotation. So you keep the head and the chin level. Exhale to the left, inhale, center. And then there's like an ear to a shoulder without lifting the shoulder up. And exhale down. And then the third one with that is inhale, look up with the eyes, but that's it. You don't want to snap back. And then exhale, chin to throat. So the whole series are really good to loosen up the neck. And honestly, if you just do your own stretches, that will help, whether it's sun breath or you just want to roll shoulders, that should be helpful as well.
All right, well, thank you, Marsha. Thank you for everybody attending today. And as we always like to say, be safe, be well, and hopefully we'll be able to see you again soon. Thank you.
Very much. Bye-bye, everybody.